A, E, I, O, U. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. When the sunlight strikes raindrops in the air, they act as a prism and form a rainbow. The rainbow is a division of white light into many beautiful colors. These take the shape of a long round arch with its path high above and its two ends apparently beyond the horizon. There is, according to legend, a boiling pot of gold at one end. People look, but no one ever finds it. Hi, my name is Julia. I'm 33 years old and I'm from the USA. I had surgery at Adán Clinic with Dr. Kim in July of 2019, and it is 7 months later, February of 2020. So in this video, I'm going to discuss the whole process of the surgery, arriving in Korea, the consultation, the surgery itself, the aftercare, and then coming back home and the obligatory month of silence and recovery process. So here I am, almost 7 months after my surgery. Everything's gone very well. My voice pitch has increased. Originally, I think it was measured at about 155 hertz. Now, I think in like a casual conversation, I think it's usually around 190, which is a 40 hertz increase. Not quite as high as I was expecting, but honestly, I can make it go as high as like 250, but it doesn't sound very natural. It does take up to a year for you to have the full effect, so I don't know if that's gonna continue to change. Honestly, I'm pretty happy with how it sounds now. I have worked really hard with the vocal exercises, with the instructions that the doctor gave me post-op, such as the 1 month rest of my voice and not put too much pressure. I do still feel like I'm somewhat aware of my voice, but not quite in the same way that I was before. Whereas before, I was often worried about if I was being perceived as male because of my voice. I don't really worry about that now. When I messaged Yazan about scheduling a consultation and a surgery, I was very promptly emailed back by Jessie. She's the foreign patient correspondent, and she will be in touch with you throughout this process. And then you'll meet her at the clinic and she walks you through it. Jessie is fantastic and she makes the whole process very smooth. Another reason why I felt comfortable with Yazan is because I've lived in Korea before. Actually, I lived there for 1.5 years, and I've been to Seoul several times. It's a very easy city for foreigners. If you haven't traveled abroad before, there's really nothing to worry about. You're going to be fine. Overall, I do have a much better range in my voice than I did before. It's just, there's no comparison to how it was before. Before, I just couldn't go any higher than ah, and then after that, it would just be silence. That was due to a lot of scar tissue that I had from my trachea shave revision in 2015. But Dr. Kim got rid of that. He fixed everything for me. So I do have a much better range. I can actually sing now. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not a good singer, so I'm not going to sing for you in this video. I don't want to put you through that. But I can sing, whereas before, if I tried to sing, it just would come out as air, and I couldn't do it at all. And that was really frustrating. So it really has changed my life in a lot of ways, having had this surgery. So I transitioned when I was a teenager, from the ages of 17 to 19. Originally, I had quite a deep voice, but it was also quiet. So I did all of my vocal training myself. Although I trained my voice to sound more feminine, I was never totally comfortable with it. It always felt like something that I had to put on. And it was always on my mind whenever I was talking to someone, whenever I met somebody new. I was always wondering, like, oh, they're listening to my voice. What are they thinking? They probably think I sound like a man. Even though it was what I would say it was passively feminine, there's still like an edge to even a very highly trained female voice for a trans person. There's still like an edge that makes it sound a little bit artificial. And I'm sure that's not for everyone, but for me, that's what I felt. So I was always worried about how I sounded. In public, it was often hard for me to speak without feeling really self-conscious. So in 2006, I had my sex reassignment surgery as well as a trachea shave. When I had the trachea shave done, initially, they were very conservative with how much they took off because they warned me if they took off too much of the cartilage that it might affect my voice. Honestly, I always thought they were too conservative because I was always insecure about the remaining cartilage. It looked very masculine to me. So I had a revision in 2015. And after that revision, I noticed a significant strain on my voice whenever I spoke. And I lost a big chunk of my range, so I couldn't go as high as I could have before. Singing, out of the question. I also worked as a teacher for 4 years. Teaching children is a huge strain on your voice. I mean, teaching in general, I'm sure is a strain, but especially children. In the last 2 years, I taught kindergarten, so you can imagine how much strain was put on my voice on a daily basis. So because of the prior damage due to the trachea shave and the strain from teaching and the strain from everyday talking, I suffered from a lot of hoarseness, and it was a lot more difficult to achieve what I felt to be a passable female voice, and it was just never something that I felt comfortable. So I decided to get the voice feminization and also the corrective surgery on my vocal cords with Dr. Kim at Yazon. Everything I've seen, the results tend to be really good. There are a few people that I've seen that maybe they don't have a great result, but I think a lot of that comes down to the aftercare and how you handle the recovery. Also, what interested me about this surgery is that it's minimally invasive. Once you have the surgery, your voice won't revert. Unlike some other surgeries,